My mill is trying to convince my wife that I'm a danger to the family because I won't give her my paycheck. I honestly never thought I'd be posting on a site like this, but I'm sitting in my car in a CVS parking lot right now because I can't handle being in that house for one more second without losing my goddamn mind. My wife, Chloe, and I are both 19 and have been married for about 7 months. I know, everyone told us we were too young, but we've been together since we were 14. We're high school sweethearts, or whatever the hell people want to call it. We had a plan. We both got decent jobs right out of school, and the goal was to live with her parents for a year, save every single penny, and then put a down payment on a small place of our own. Her parents, Sandra and Mike, seemed totally fine with this at first. Sandra was actually the one who suggested it. She was all, "Oh, we have so much room. Stay in the basement, save your money, family helps family." It sounded like a dream. Instead, it's been a fucking nightmare. The first month was okay, but then Sandra started making these suggestions. It began with a communal grocery fund. She asked for $200 a month from each of us. Fine, that's fair, we're eating their food. But then that $400 turned into $800 because inflation is hitting us hard, and you guys use so much electricity with your gaming consoles. I don't even play that much, maybe an hour after work to decompress, but whatever. I paid it because I didn't want to cause drama. The real shit hit the fan last week. Sandra sat us down at the kitchen table like we were toddlers. She had this creepy, plastered-on smile and said, "I've been thinking. Since you two are so young and clearly don't know how to manage a household budget yet, it would be much safer if you just deposited your paychecks into my account. I'll give you an allowance for gas and fun money, and I'll put the rest into a high-yield savings account for your house. That way, you won't be tempted to waste it on stupid things." I laughed. I honestly thought it was a joke. I looked at Mike, and he was just staring at his coffee like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Then I looked at Chloe, and she wasn't laughing. She looked terrified. I told Sandra, "No way in hell. I'm a grown man. I work 45 hours a week in a warehouse breaking my back, and I'm perfectly capable of clicking transfer on my banking app. Thanks, but no thanks." Sandra's face did this weird twitch. The kind mother mask just slipped right off. She told me I was being disrespectful and short-sighted. She said she's only trying to protect her daughter's future from a boy who clearly has an ego problem. I told her to stay out of my finances, and we went downstairs. Since then, it's been hell. Sandra has been whispering in Chloe's ear constantly. Yesterday, I came home and Chloe was crying. She told me her mom showed her articles about how young men often gamble away their savings or hide money from their wives. Sandra told her that because I refused to hand over the money, it's a huge red flag and that I'm likely planning to leave her once I have enough saved. I blew up. I went upstairs and told Sandra to stop filling my wife's head with bullshit. Sandra just looked at me and said, "If you have nothing to hide, you'd show us your bank statements right now. A real man provides transparency for his family." I told her she was a bitter old hag who just wanted to control us. Mike finally piped up and told me not to speak to his wife that way, and I told him to grow a pair and stop letting her run his life. Chloe is caught in the middle, sobbing, and now she's asking me, maybe it wouldn't be so bad? Just to keep the peace? Am I crazy for thinking this is total financial abuse and manipulation? I feel like I'm being gaslit by an entire household. Update 1. It's been a few days since my first post and, honestly, things have gone from bad to get the fuck out of there. After the blow-up, I tried to have a serious talk with Chloe. We went for a drive just so we could speak without Sandra lurking outside the door. Chloe admitted that her mom has been telling her that I have a secret credit card and that I'm probably talking to other girls. Where the fuck is she getting this? I work, I go to the gym for 40 minutes, and I come home. That's my entire life. Chloe was starting to see sense, or so I thought. We agreed that we needed to move out sooner. We looked at our savings, we have about $12,000 tucked away. It's not a down payment for a house, but it's more than enough for a security deposit and a few months of rent on a shitty apartment. I felt like we were back on the same team. Then I got home from work today. I went to log into our joint savings account to show Chloe a listing for a studio apartment near the city. The password had been changed. I tried the recovery email, but I wasn't getting the codes. I realized Chloe must have changed it. I went downstairs and asked her what was going on. She wouldn't look at me. She was clutching her phone like a lifeline. I asked her again, "Chloe, why am I locked out of the savings?" She started shaking. Mom said. She said it was for the best. She helped me set up a new account that only I have access to, but she's the custodian or something? She said it would prove that I'm the one who cares about our future, and that if you really love me, you won't care who holds the money as long as it's safe. I felt the blood drain out of my face. Sandra moved the money. Well, she convinced Chloe to move the money. I lost it. I didn't hit anything, and I didn't scream at Chloe, but I went upstairs and found Sandra in the kitchen. I told her that if that money wasn't back in our joint account by tomorrow morning, I was calling the police and reporting the theft. Sandra didn't even flinch. She just sipped her tea and said, "It's not theft if your wife gave it to me, honey. And good luck explaining to the police why a 19-year-old boy is harassing his mother-in-law. You look unstable. You've been looking unstable for weeks. I think you need help. Maybe some time away would be good for you." Then Mike walked in. He didn't even look at me, he just said, "I think you should leave for the night, son. You're upsetting everyone." I looked at Chloe, who was standing in the doorway, and I asked her, "Are you really doing this? You're choosing her over us?" She just whispered, "I just want everyone to stop fighting. Why can't you just do what she says? It's for us." I'm currently in a motel. I have about $300 in my personal checking account that Sandra didn't know about. All my clothes, my laptop, and my tools are still in that basement. I'm scared to go back because I feel like she's going to call the cops on me the second I step on the porch. I feel like I'm losing my wife to a cult of one. Update 2. I stayed at the motel for 2 nights. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling wondering how my life turned into a Lifetime movie. I finally got a text from Chloe this morning. It wasn't an apology. It was a list of rules for re-entry. It was clearly written by Sandra. 1. I have to apologize to Sandra and Mike for my outbursts. 2. I have to agree to the family budgeting plan, the paycheck thing. 3. I have to give Sandra the password to my phone so she can verify I'm not being unfaithful to Chloe. 4. I have to attend family counseling with a pastor Sandra knows. I didn't even reply. I called my older brother, who lives 2 states away. He's 10 years older than me and we haven't always been close, but when I told him what was happening, he just said, "Don't do anything stupid. I'm driving down. Get a police escort to get your shit." That was the best advice I'd had in weeks. I went to the local precinct and explained the situation. I told them I was being barred from my residence and my belongings were being held. They were surprisingly chill about it. They sent a cruiser over with me. When we pulled up, Sandra was on the porch. Her face when she saw the cop car was fucking priceless. She tried to play the sweet, confused lady act. "Oh, officer, there's no trouble here. My son-in-law is just having a bit of a mental health crisis and we're trying to help him." The cop, a guy who looked like he'd seen 1,000 domestic disputes, just said, "Ma'am, he's here to collect his personal property. Please stay back while he does so." I went into the basement. It was a mess. It looked like someone had gone through our things. My laptop was gone. My toolbox was gone. I turned to Chloe, who was sitting on the edge of the bed looking like a ghost. "Where's my stuff, Chloe?" I asked. "Mom. She put it in storage," she said, her voice tiny. "She said you shouldn't have access to expensive things if you're going to be impulsive and leave your family." I looked at the cop. He looked at Sandra. "Ma'am, where is the storage unit?" Sandra crossed her arms. "I don't recall. And besides, those items were gifts or bought with family money. They belong to the household." The cop sighed. "That's not how this works. If you don't produce the items, he can file a report for theft. Do you want to do this the hard way?" Eventually, she led us to the garage. She'd hidden my laptop under a pile of old blankets and my tools were locked in Mike's truck. I grabbed everything I could fit into my car. The hardest part was the end. I stood by my car, and Chloe came out. She wasn't crying anymore, she looked angry. "I can't believe you brought the police here," she said. "You've ruined everything. My mom was right. You're a narcissist. You're trying to isolate me from my parents." I just looked at her. "Chloe, they took our money. They took my things. They're controlling every move you make. I'm not isolating you, I'm trying to save us." "Then stay," she said. "Just apologize and stay." I got in the car and drove away. My brother is about 2 hours out. I'm staying with him for now. I haven't checked the bank account yet because I'm terrified of what I'll see. Update 3. I'm at my brother's place. It's been a week. I finally got the courage to check the bank account, or try to. I called the bank and spent 3 hours on the phone proving my identity. The account is empty. Not low. Empty. $12,450 gone. The bank teller told me the funds were withdrawn in cash at a branch location 5 days ago. Chloe was the one who did it. She had to have been there in person. Sandra must have driven her and coached her through it. I'm devastated. That was every bit of overtime, every skipped lunch, every dream we had for a house. All gone. And for what? To prove her loyalty to her mother? I sent Chloe a text, "The money is gone. I know you took it. I'm calling a lawyer." She replied almost instantly. "It's not gone. It's in a safe place. Mom says if you come back and sign the papers she drafted, we can use it for a down payment on a house in their neighborhood. She even found a place. We can be a family again. Please. Just stop being so stubborn. Papers? What papers? I asked. She sent me a photo of a document. It was a family covenant. It was some insane, legally binding looking bullshit that basically said Sandra would have power of attorney over both of us, that all our income would go into a trust managed by her, and that we wouldn't be allowed to move more than 5 miles away from her house for the next 10 years. It also said that if we ever divorced, I would forfeit any claim to the family assets, which I guess includes the $12,000 they stole from me. I showed it to my brother. He just stared at it and said, "This is some Jim Jones shit. This isn't just a toxic mill, this is a kidnapping of the mind." I haven't called a lawyer yet because I'm broke. My brother is helping me out, but I'm 19 and I'm staring down the barrel of a divorce and a legal battle against a woman who has a lot more time and family money than I do. But then, last night, I got a call from Mike. He sounded drunk. He whispered into the phone, "She's got the money in a shoe box under the floorboards in the linen closet. She didn't put it in a high-yield account. She's using it to pay off the back taxes on our house. Chloe doesn't know. Don't tell Sandra I called." Then he hung up. I'm sitting here shivering. Mike is an enabler, but I think he's finally cracking. If Sandra is using our house money to pay her own debts while telling Chloe it's safe, then this is even worse than I thought. It's not just about control. It's a scam. I don't know what to do. If I tell Chloe, will she even believe me? Or will she just run to her mom and tell her that I'm harassing Mike now? I feel like I'm in a maze and every turn leads to a goddamn wall. Update 4. Everything exploded. I couldn't just sit on what Mike told me. I knew if I didn't act, that money would be gone forever, and Chloe would be stuck in that house believing I was the villain for the rest of her life. I didn't call Chloe. I knew she'd tell Sandra. Instead, I called the police non-emergency line again and asked if I could speak to the officer who helped me with my civil standby last week. I got lucky, he was on shift. I told him what Mike said about the money being hidden and the potential tax fraud. He told me that since it was a joint account and Chloe withdrew the money legally, they couldn't do much about theft between spouses, but the paying off debts under false pretenses part was something I should talk to a lawyer about. He also suggested that if I felt Chloe was being coerced, I could request a wellness check. I did something risky. I drove back. Not to the house, but to Chloe's workplace, a small dental office. I waited for her in the parking lot during her lunch break. When she saw me, she looked like she wanted to run, but I blocked her path. "Chloe, listen to me for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes, and then I'll leave you alone forever if that's what you want." She stopped. She looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes, hair unwashed. She didn't look like the girl I married. I told her everything. I told her what Mike said about the floorboards. I told her about the tax debt. I told her that her mother was stealing our future to save her own ass. "He wouldn't say that," Chloe stammered. "Dad wouldn't. He's loyal to Mom." "He's scared, Chloe. Just like you are. Think about it. Why wouldn't she show you the bank statement for this new account? Why is it in a safe place instead of a bank?" I saw a flicker of doubt in her eyes. It was the first time in weeks she looked like my Chloe. She said, "Banks aren't safe for us right now because you could hack them." I don't even know how to hack a fucking toaster, Chloe. Please. Just go home when she's at her bridge club. Check the linen closet. If I'm wrong, I'll sign those papers. I'll sign whatever the fuck she wants. But if I'm right, you have to leave with me." She didn't say yes. She just got in her car and drove away. I waited at a gas station down the street from their house for 3 hours. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I was going to have a heart attack at 19. Then, my phone screamed. It was a FaceTime call from Chloe. She was in the linen closet. The floorboard was pulled up. She was holding a heavy, battered Nike shoebox. She opened it, and it was stuffed with stacks of 20s and 100s. But there was also a folder. She opened the folder on camera. It was a notice of foreclosure. The house was being taken by the state for unpaid property taxes. The total owed was almost exactly $13,000. Chloe started hyperventilating. She lied. She lied to me about everything. She told me we were saving the family. She told me you were the one stealing. Suddenly, I heard a door slam in the background. Sandra was home. "Chloe?" Sandra's voice drifted up the stairs, sweet and sharp as a razor. "Who are you talking to, baby? And why are you in my closet?" Chloe looked at the camera, her face pure, unadulterated terror. "She's here," she whispered. "Get out of there, Chloe. Take the box and get out," I yelled. The last thing I saw before the call cut out was the closet door swinging open and Sandra's face appearing in the frame, her eyes turning into something I can only describe as demonic when she saw the box in Chloe's hands. The screen went black. I'm currently speeding toward the house. I've already dialed 911 and they're on the line. I can hear the sirens in the distance, but they aren't fast enough. I don't know what that woman is capable of now that she's been caught. I'm fucking terrified. I just want my wife back. Update 5. I am writing this from a Motel 6 2 towns over, and I still haven't stopped shaking. I feel like my heart is going to beat out of my chest. When I pulled into the driveway, 2 police cruisers were already there with their lights spinning. I didn't even put the car in park properly, I just jumped out while it was still rolling and ran toward the front door. I could hear Sandra screaming. Not like angry screaming, but this high-pitched, guttural shriek that sounded like a wounded animal. I burst through the door, and it was fucking chaos. One of the officers was holding Sandra back in the hallway. She was reaching for Chloe, her fingernails out like claws, shouting that Chloe was a thief and an ungrateful bitch. Mike was sitting on the bottom step of the stairs with his head in his hands, just sobbing. Chloe was backed into the corner of the living room, clutching that Nike shoebox to her chest like it was a shield. She was white as a sheet, her eyes wide and glazed over. When she saw me, she didn't even say anything, she just collapsed. Not a dramatic faint, her legs just gave out. I went to her, but the second cop told me to stay back. I yelled, "That's my wife. She's the one who called." It took forever to get the story straight. Apparently, when Sandra saw the shoebox, she lost whatever was left of her goddamn mind. She tried to rip it out of Chloe's hands and ended up shoving her against the closet wall. Chloe managed to lock herself in the bathroom and stay on the line with 911 until they arrived. Sandra kept trying to tell the cops that I had manipulated Chloe into stealing household funds. She actually had the balls to say that the $12,000 was her management fee for letting us live there. The cop looked at the foreclosure notice Chloe was still holding and just shook his head. They didn't arrest Sandra right then, they called it a domestic disturbance, but they told her that if she touched Chloe or me again, she'd be leaving in handcuffs. They escorted us out while I grabbed whatever of Chloe's stuff I could cram into a duffel bag. Mike didn't even look up when we walked past him. He's a shell of a man. Update 6. We've been at my brother's for 3 days. Chloe hasn't stopped crying for more than an hour at a time. She's grieving, and I get it. She didn't just lose her house, she lost the version of her mother she thought existed. We opened the shoebox together last night. Most of the money is there, about $11,200. Sandra had already spent some of it. There were receipts in the box for a new designer handbag and a spa day deposit. She wasn't even using the stolen money to pay the taxes yet, she was fucking shopping while her house was being foreclosed on. Chloe is disgusted. She told me that for years, Sandra told her that they were wealthy but private. She had no idea her parents were drowning in debt. Sandra had been using Chloe's credit score to open cards for years, too. We checked her report this morning, she has $15,000 in zombie debt from cards she never even saw. My brother is being a saint. He's letting us sleep on his pull-out couch and his wife is helping Chloe find a therapist who specializes in narcissistic abuse. I'm still pissed. I'm beyond pissed. I want to sue that woman into the ground, but Chloe isn't ready for that. She still keeps checking her phone, hoping for a text from her dad saying it was all a mistake. It's a fucking mess. Update 7. The family covenant papers? I found the physical copy in Chloe's bag. I took them to a lawyer my brother knows. The lawyer laughed so hard he almost choked. He said most of it was totally unenforceable, but the way it was worded was predatory and psychologically coercive. He's helping us draft a formal demand letter to get the rest of our money back and to start the process of disputing the fraudulent cards in Chloe's name. Sandra has been calling from different numbers. She leaves these long, rambling voicemails. 1 minute she's sobbing, saying she's going to kill herself because we ruined her life, and the next she's screaming that I'm a low-class piece of shit who stole her daughter. Yesterday, Mike sent a text. He didn't ask how Chloe was. He just asked if we could lend them $2,000 so they wouldn't lose the power this week. Chloe finally did it. She took her phone, deleted his contact, and blocked every single person in her extended family who has been acting as a flying monkey for Sandra. She looked at me and said, "I think I'm done. I don't have a mom anymore. We're staying with my brother for the next few months. I'm working double shifts at the warehouse to make up for what was lost. We aren't getting that house anytime soon, and honestly, our marriage is hanging by a thread. We have to learn how to be a couple without her mother's shadow over us. It's not a happy ending. I'm tired, I'm broke, and my wife is traumatized. But when I woke up this morning and saw her actually eating breakfast without looking over her shoulder, I knew I did the right thing. Sandra can have her empty house and her shoeboxes. I have my wife. We're 19, and we're starting over from zero. It's going to be a long fucking road." Hi there, if you made it so far. Consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing. Thanks. And have a nice one.